Is that my dudes? Let's get into episode 38 of r/Choosing Beggars. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. I heard some good news yesterday that Australia got a whole bunch of rain and it put out a lot of the fires. I'm not really sure how much, there's a lot of damage. Oh my god, I feel so bad. Okay, let's get into some stories. If you want to check for my last video, I'll put the link in the description. If you still want to try to, donate to help towards that cause, I'll put that link in the description today too, so you can do that if you want to. All right, without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get right into it. She asked for donations, but was too lazy to pick it up. Posted by user nom-d-pixel. This happened over a year ago, so I don't have the screen caps. On a local Facebook page, an art student at the nearby university was asking for donations of cast iron for a project. For some reason, my husband had purchased 2 gigantic cast iron pans that were too heavy to use and were turning to rust. So I messaged her that she could have them and let her know that we live close to the school. She insisted that meant it was easy for me to bring them to the school, find her classroom, and give them to her. I even told her I would leave them in a box near the mailbox so she wouldn't have to come to the house and knock on a stranger's door. Nope, she kept insisting I bring these heavy pans for her project. She never did get them. Did you tell her how big they were and how much they weighed? Again, if she's a student, she might not have a car, so I could understand a little bit. But as Team Shadowwind said, as an art student, I would jump at the opportunity for free supplies. Her laziness cost her. I guess that's true because, art supplies are not freaking cheap. Speaking as a crafter, I'm constantly having to stop myself from buying art supplies and craft supplies and stuff like that. When I see sales, I get subscribed to all these stupid mailing lists. It's so tempting, but I'm doing good so far. I have been controlling myself. Woman wanted me to work for $1 an hour. Posted by user Canadian_Mama2016. What's up, neighbor? The year after I graduated from college, I worked in England. The year after that, I came home and got down to real life. Although I had a job teaching, my student debt was stressing me out and I wanted to pay it faster. A friend in my field mentioned she edited on the side and told me that when it was all said and done, she usually ended up making minimum wage or slightly under because she was meticulous about her work. So I didn't have super high expectations and I like to read, so I thought it might be fun. So I posted an ad. A woman wrote me soon after and asked me if I could meet to discuss a project. She sent me a sample. I didn't think it was all that great, but hey, the subject wasn't really my interest, so I thought maybe I was being harsh. So we met at a cafe. She took her 2 kids, I'm guessing 8-ish and 10-ish, handed me what she had written so far and asked my cost would be to edit it. I skimmed the first page and the sentences were clear and made sense. I could only find 1 punctuation error and everything else seemed fine. I said, I don't think this would take too much time to edit. I only see 1 small error on a page, so if the rest is like this, it will be pretty straightforward. I told her I could afford light editing for $1 a page. She was pleased with that and told me that once it was published, she would go see that I got a percentage of the profits. Since she didn't have a publisher and wasn't even in contact with one, I wasn't holding my breath on that part. So a few days later, she sends me the first 10 pages by email. I write her back and tell her I wouldn't be home that evening, Friday, but I had a few hours on Saturday as well as being free almost all of Sunday, so I would send it to her on Sunday evening. She wrote me back, aghast and appalled that I would only spend a day and a half working on it before returning it to her. That I needed to take my time and make sure everything flowed, make sure the stories were vibrant enough and fix them if they weren't. I was dumbfounded. I told her I was planning to spend up to 10 hours working on it, though I didn't think it would take that long, and she was only paying me $10. I asked her if she really expected me to work for less than $1 an hour. She responded that I would eventually be getting royalties, so it was more than fair. Plus, I agreed to that price, so now I had to follow through. I emailed her back and said that I gave her a price for a light editing, which to me meant spelling, punctuation, and grammar, not rewriting sections of the book. I told her that I was sorry if I used the wrong term, but that was what I meant. I told her that if she wanted more than that, we would have to discuss price again. She flipped out in her next email saying she couldn't afford more, she had 2 kids to feed, that I didn't have any kids and I had another job, so I should be able to do it for whatever she was willing to pay me. She kept hammering the point that I agreed to this price, so therefore, I had to follow through. I wrote back and told her that although I didn't have children, I had an elderly relative I was taking care of. Not true. 20-something me cared less about lying than 30-something me, I guess. As well as student debt, and I wasn't taking a second job for fun and spending money. I and my made-up relative were dependent on me making some money. She then wrote back again, saying that we were in the same situation, being responsible for other people financially, and that she was willing to forgive me for making a deal and backing out at the last minute. We had met a few days previous, so it's not like I screwed her out of a bunch of time. I was going to respond to that, but I decided to be the bigger person, let it go, and wished her good luck with her book. 2 days later, I get another email with a 40-page confidentiality agreement for the pages I had in my possession. I wrote her back that I didn't have a printer, but I would be happy to sign it if she wanted to meet me at the same cafe. She said she didn't have one either and asked me to go to Staples to print it and deliver to her. I declined and said if she would like me to mail it, then she could send it with a self-addressed stamped envelope. I told her that if she wanted my address, let me know, but if she emailed me again asking for anything else, I would block her. Never heard from her again. Never saw her book for sale either. As an aside, this soured me on the editing idea, so I instead took a second job delivering pizzas for 6 hours a night, 4 nights a week. Did that for 7 months. Paid my student debt off in full. Well, you said you're the bigger person, but were you? Because you lied. But I understand, like, you have, once you have one of these types of choosing beggars that they will not take no for an answer, you have to do everything in your power to get them their cold hard grasp off of you, you know? So I'm not really shaming the OP for that, but you did kind of sink a little low there. Younger cousin expected me to give him a brand new Apple laptop. Posted by user ND1 Online. Over the years, I noticed that the worst culprit for choosing beggars are usually family members, especially the random ones who are sort of related to you, but, you know, deep down, you don't really know each other all that well. This incident actually occurred quite a long time ago, and I've almost forgotten about it until someone reminded me about it last weekend. Way back over 10 years ago. I just got a promotion to a new role, and I bought some new tools, including a new Apple MacBook for work. I was living in London at the time and was in a small flat/apartment, which means space was a premium. So I decided that I should get rid of some stuff in the house. One of those was a PC that was a few years old at the time. Back then, my grandma used to call me up every few days just to chat about stuff. And I mentioned to her about the promotion and the new stuff I bought and the old stuff I'm giving away. And being an old lady whose hobby was basically phone call to the family, she passed this news on to a few relatives. One of my aunts heard the news and told her younger kid. Few days later, my aunt and her kid called me up and said they will take my computer. Great, come over to my place and collect them. They drove over the next day and they turned into a long argument with me once they arrived. For some reason, probably due to the fact my grandma doesn't really know about computers and stuff, or my aunt misheard it or whatever, they thought they were picking up my brand new MacBook instead of a few years old desktop. My aunt, being an adult, was at least understanding that it must be a miscommunication. My little cousin, though, was throwing a huge tantrum over it in my house. He kept going on about how crap the spec of the machine is and how it would be useless to him. And bear in mind, he wasn't like 8 years old at the time. He was 13 years old. Still a kid, I know, but should be at an age of which he should understand that his distant cousin, me, is not going to randomly give him a brand new computer just for homework. My aunt was trying to just get the computer out of my place, and I wanted to get them and the computer out of my house, and my girlfriend just wanted all the crying. Yep, 13-year-old boy was crying. It was quite a scene. Noises to stop so she could focus on her work. At the end, they just left, empty-handed, and of course, since the kid doesn't want the old PC, and I wasn't ready to give him my new one. I thought that was that, but then, later that night, my uncle called me up and demanded an explanation of why I backed out on a deal. What? And that was not the way to treat family, etc., etc. The phone call ended up with me hanging up on him, which led to a lecture from my grandma the next day over the phone and took me an hour to explain what happened. And that led to a lecture from her to my uncle, which led to more phone calls and arguments. My uncle complained that now his son has no computer to use, and I told him he could still pick up my computer, which is still sitting in my house at the time. I didn't get an answer until 2 days later, and he sent me a list of things he wants me to upgrade to the computer that I am planning to give away with my own money. Obviously, I just ignore them at the time, and good job, my family always has lots of drama, probably stirred up by my very, very bored grandma. Come to think of it. So very soon, everyone was on to the new storyline to follow. And what happened to the computer? I ended up giving it to a neighbor in the same floor of whom I have talked to a few times. They were in less fortunate position than us, and their 2 teenage children at the time used to use the computers at school and library for their homework. Once my girlfriend found out about that, it was a natural place to send my computer to. At first, they refused it because they couldn't give me money for it, but we were not looking to take any money anyways because A, it wasn't worth all that much anyway, and B, it was much, much easier to bring the damn thing just a few doors down than anywhere else. They were our neighbor for a few years more before I moved away from the block. I didn't even think about what had happened much anymore until recently when I was contacted by the older one of the 2 children. Apparently, he has just graduated from university and just started a job. We talked about a few things, and he thanked me again for giving him the computer all those years ago. Apparently, it's still being used by their parents at their home. It's funny how things can turn out sometimes. Pretty sure my cousin has still not forgiven me for not giving him a MacBook, though. What the fuck is wrong with this family? Grandma! This is like the equivalent of grandma sharing fake news on Facebook. Oh, grandma, stop. Get the facts. And if you can't remember things, then don't talk about them because that's how telephone works. One person has a shitty memory and they leave out 1 or 2 words or they mix the phrasing up and it's like jumbled, like that's just don't do that. Save a lot of headaches for people. Oh my god. This cousin and aunt, uncle, man, the aunt seemed okay. She seemed to accept it and understand it's a miscommunication. But this uncle and this kid, holy shit, have some discipline, you know? Lady wanted 5 footlong subs for free. Posted by user Gleaming Treats. This happened when I was 18 and still worked at Subway, so it's a little old, but this incident will always stay with me. So I used to work at Subway, and we had this one lady who would come in once a week and claimed that we messed up her order and demand a free sandwich. Since it's fast food, we all know the age-old saying, "The customer's always right," in case you didn't know, but I really didn't start to pick up on this happening with her specifically until maybe the 3rd time she did it. So anyways, in the middle of a Sunday lunch rush, this woman comes in and orders 5 footlongs. Fine, great, no biggie, but she was being needlessly complicated with her orders. She would ask for 1 sandwich, then take it back mid-order and say that she wanted something else. And she did this for every sub. I recognized her at this point, and while she was being difficult, she wasn't trying to get anything for free. So whatevs. We ring up her order, take her payment, and she's on her way. 3 days later, whilst I was closing the store with my buddy Pablo, not real name, we get a phone call. Pablo answers. Pablo was on the phone for 10 to 15 minutes, and by the time the call ended, I asked him what it was all about. Pablo tells me that some lady says that she came in and we got all of her sandwiches wrong and she wanted free sandwiches to make up for it. Right when he told me that, I already knew who he was talking about. So I asked him what he told her. Well, she wouldn't stop talking. Every time I told her we couldn't do that, she'd just keep insisting, so I told her I'd just pay for it out of my own pocket. This really pissed me off. Pablo is a bit of a pushover, but our store was also super strict and monitored the cameras hard, and if we didn't give them a good enough reason for giving away free stuff, especially 5 sandwiches, it was automatic termination. I told Pablo to wait in the back when she came because I was going to deal with it. Anyways, she comes walking in and looks me in the eyes and automatically knew she was fucked. I don't know how to explain it, but you can definitely tell her whole demeanor changed once she realized that I knew what was going on, and it was even more obvious when she asked for my buddy and said that he was going to take care of the sandwiches because we messed them up. Ma'am, I was the one who made you those sandwiches on Sunday, and I know we didn't mess them up because you asked us to remake them so many times that I remember specifically asking you if everything was good a few times before we wrapped them and sold them to you. Yeah, but Pablo said that he was gonna comp them. This is ridiculous. You guys messed up my order, so you owe me those free sandwiches. Pablo wasn't here on Sunday, and he wasn't going to comp them. He was going to pay for them out of his own pocket, and I'm not going to let him do that. We didn't mess up your sandwiches. You came in here every single week claiming that we mess up your orders, and I've taken notice of it. I'd be more than happy to make your sandwiches, but they're not going to be free. What do you mean they're not gonna be free? I've seen Subways at Valero do a better job than you guys have because you always mess up my sandwiches. Fuck this place. I'm going to call HQ and get you fired. My husband's a lawyer and we're gonna sue you. Okay, ma'am, whatever you gotta do, but I'm not giving you a free sandwich. She got really mad and stormed off in her very expensive SUV. This is one of the first experiences with these kind of people that I ever had, and I couldn't believe how entitled she was. The worst part is they actually had me on the chopping block the next day, and I got told I was going to get fired over the incident, so I just quit. Then they rehired me 3 months later, and she came in once afterwards, saw me, then promptly never came back. Good riddance. So, I gotta ask if you got your job back 3 months later because did you follow up with the labor board for wrongful dismissal? Because that's pretty fucked. So you tried to save the company some money by not giving in to a criminal who just clearly makes it a job of going into Subway to try to get free fucking food from them. And that's how they repay you? By firing you? That's fucked. Subway, you guys are fucked. I'm glad I don't eat at Subway. I mean, I am not an endorsement or anti-endorsement of any. Don't listen to me. Make your own decisions. Okay, whatever. I feel like I just need to say that because people are getting their videos taken down left and right for having any sort of opinion on anything. So I'm not going to censor myself, but I'm just going to cover my butt, if y'all know what I'm talking about. All right, I think that wasn't the last story, was it? No, it was the last story. Okay, I'm going to do one more, I think. Let's get one more. Drunk choosing beggar accuses hotel staff of stealing a bag of ice, among other meaningless items. Posted by user Experiment525. I had the pleasure of being a night auditor at a hotel over the last summer. One glorious night, I came in at 11 to relieve the man on evening shift who told me the tale of havoc the woman in room 611 had wreaked on our hotel in the mere 8 hours she'd been there. I stupidly assumed I wouldn't have to worry about it too much since it was 11 p.m. and she should have been going to sleep. But alas, I was wrong. This woman was using a friends and family discount for her entire family. Herself, her girlfriend, her 4 children, and 2 uncles to stay in a 1-bedroom suite for $60 for one night. The normal price was more than double. When she got to the room, she discovered the ice maker in the fridge was broken, and my hotel does not have an ice machine since they are in the rooms. So, since it's broken, we give her a large bag of ice from the kitchen for the night. She's content with this. So she orders a pizza to her room without notifying anyone at the desk, goes to the terrace with the entire family just so she can smoke a cigarette. The pizza man goes up. She comes in on the phone several minutes later telling him that she's in the lobby by the desk. The man comes down and is understandably rude, seeing as how she wasted his time and probably fucked his delivery times. So she complains to me that she didn't know he'd be there so soon, and how can he be so rude? I didn't think much of it, but I sympathized, and she left. After the family eats, she calls for someone to grab her trash. I assumed she's put it in a bag outside the door like I told her, and I sent security to get it. We don't have a houseman/housekeepers overnight, and apparently all hell breaks loose when security goes up. The woman calls to tell me that security didn't take her trash and got an attitude with her. Then she comes to the desk and asks me for 15 minutes why we don't have housekeepers overnight. I explained that we're a long-term stay hotel and that people don't typically need housekeeping overnight. She then explains that it's not her house, so why should she have to clean up her own mess? She complains that there's pizza boxes everywhere and that she's not putting anything in a bag for us because that's our job. Basically, this bitch wants personal servants to come clean her room at her beck and call. She leaves and soon after calls me again. This time to tell me that she thinks someone stole her ice. Yes, you read that right. She claimed someone must have come into her room when no one was in there and stolen a bag of ice. I figure she's out of her fucking mind, but to get her away from me, I tell her I'll have maintenance read the door in the morning and see if an unauthorized entrance did in fact happen. At this point, the security guard is at the desk and using the security phone to type up the information they routinely do. Now, Choosing Beggar is getting mad and getting in the guard's face because she's using the phone when it's not the guard's job to listen to this woman's shit. I do my best to calm her down and she goes back up. She calls again to the desk and starts talking about the ice again. Now she's referring to the man who gave it to her and says the gay dude, and after several times I ask her to stop because it's offensive, I try to explain if she says that to the manager tomorrow, she was planning to talk to him, that she'll be removed. She starts screaming into the phone that she'll do whatever she wants and she's gay herself, so it doesn't matter, and then hung up. She comes down again soon after with a gallon bottle of Bacardi and her receipt, now claiming that someone came in and stole 3/4 of the bottle. She tries to tell me she bought it today and says I could check the camera and the receipt and yada yada yada. She's clearly drunk and obviously drank the damn thing herself, or poured it into another cup just for this next part. Then come the magic words. So what are you gonna do for me? And the switch clicked in my head. Now, I'm not going to give you even a damn dollar off your rate. I wanted to charge her full price at this point. But I offered to call the police for her. I said, "Ma'am, I understand you're upset. What I can do for you right now is call the police and you may file a report if you believe you've been stolen from." And since that's not what she really cared about, she walks away yelling, "She don't care. She don't care about us," and yada yada yada. I checked the policies to be sure management would back me up, and since she was on a friend and family discount, I had every right to do the following due to her conduct. I called the room and said, "Ma'am, due to the conduct you've displayed tonight while staying here on a friends and family discount, I am going to ask you to leave. You have 15 minutes to gather your things and your family, or I'll call the police to escort you out." And I hung up before she could talk. She came down screaming about, "How could I do this? Where will they go?" saying her son is sick and I'm such a bitch and they deserve a free room for all they've endured. I went to the back office, locked the door, called 911 and got to watch her get removed. TLDR, woman is staying in hotel at half price. Decides the price still isn't low enough, so she lies and claims we stole from her to get a free room. Then claims I'm heartless for removing them due to her conduct, all because her son is sick. Oh my god, that woman is spun, and I feel bad for whoever's friend and family got her that discount, or friend or family got them the discount. I bet they've learned from that and never again. Oh my god, what is wrong with these people, my dudes? Do you guys have any Choosing Beggars stories? Let me know about them because the Reddit Fairy Storytime is the place for all the Choosing Beggar stories, apparently. So if you have any, send them my way. As always, if you like this story, please smash that like button and leave a comment below. Let me know which story was your favorite. And as always, don't forget to smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Otherwise, YouTube will never tell you about my new videos, and that would be just a shame. A complete shame, my dudes. As always, the links to these stories will be in the description, so head on over to Reddit and show those posters some love with some upvotes. You know they deserve it. And my dudes, send me your stories, your photos, all that fun stuff. I seen Corinne posted something in my Reddit Fairy Facebook page, and I'm kind of curious as to what it is. So this is it here. What is this, Corinne? Let me know. What's the story behind this photo here? I'm very, very curious. All right, my dudes. So you guys have a fan-fucking-tabulous day, and I will see you in tomorrow's episode. By the way, let me know in the comments, what subreddit do you want me to cover tomorrow? If I get enough people saying or liking the same one, then I will do that one. Otherwise, if there's only, one like on certain things, I might just pick what I want to do. But I mean, you guys, I always appreciate your feedback, but definitely I would much rather do something that you guys want, because you guys are the one watching it, right? All right, my dudes, have a great day. See you tomorrow.